Hello and welcome to the Social Network. I'm Kashish. Now in this week there have been two blasts in two cities, Boston as well as Bangalore. So on the Social Network today, we look at, in the first segment at least, we look at web reactions in both the cities to these blasts, and of course how really has social media reacted? Has it helped? What is the role that it's played on both of these blasts? Joining us on the show today in the Delhi studio, we've got with us Ishan Mohan Bagga, who is the editor of Indian Exponent. He joins us in the Delhi studio. From Bangalore, we're joined by Karthik Srinivasan, who's the national head of the social media cell of Ogilvy. We'll also be joined by Narayan Lakshman, all the way from Washington. Okay, I understand that Narayan Lakshman joins us from Washington. He's also the editor of Hindu from Washington, of course, and he will be talking, of course, about the Boston blast. Thank you, Narayan. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. And in a few minutes, we'll also be joined by Utsav Mitra, who's also an avid tweeter. He'll be joining us from Mumbai. Narayan, just before I cut across to you, I just want to quickly take our viewers through some of the stuff that's being talked about on social media vis-a-vis the blast. Of course, one of the things that actually came into severe focus after the blast came, and I'm just going to quickly show that out on the plasma, is this tweet which the Boston police put out. This came there's that tweet on your page at the moment. The Boston Police Department pulled out a tweet saying Boston police looking for video off the finish line. Tweet with a hashtag tweet from the beat via Cheryl Fiandaka. And what's interesting about this is that Fiandaka is actually the police department's social media director, probably a concept that is still unheard of in India. That tweet, of course, had many, many responses to it. Then, of course, there was a YouTube spotlight page which was launched, and this spotlight page actually called for every single person who had any amount of footage to actually aggregate them and put them here right on this particular page so that anybody could have access to this. And of course, many other apps were also created. There was also an app which was created for people who were searching for their missed ones, for their missing ones, for their loved ones. So social media was also very, very active. But of course, that was not the only role that social media played. Let's bring in our panel today to talk a little bit more about that. Now, I just want to start with you first. This is, of course, what I pointed out is, of course, some of the most positive sides of social media. But is that the only role that they played?
Absolutely not. I think that, as you said correctly, there's a very wide range of roles that social media plays. And on the positive side, certainly authorities are able to, in a sense, crowdsource inputs, video inputs, photographs after a terror attack of this sort. But if you're looking at the dark side of things, or the negative side, you did find that via social media and then within the broader media itself, there was a lot of confusion about the subsequent development of the story. So clearly, from tweets that AP and CNN and others were making, you could make out that some law enforcement authorities were selectively putting out information, or you can call it leaking information to media, about whether a suspect had been arrested or not, about whether they were being brought to court. And then the FBI actually put out a big, sort of a very critical tweet, sort of criticizing media reports that had gotten ahead of themselves and had put out false information. So on the one hand,
all right, I just want to take that out to the other panelists and come back to you, Karthik. Karthik, of course, Narayan pointing out that there was, of course, some amount of rumor mongering also on social media, as is perhaps obvious. But in India, after the Bangalore blast, does it seem, I know yesterday on the show we talked a whole lot about that tweet about Shakil Ahmed, which went viral. Is that the only thing that happened on the Indian social media scene?
Not necessarily. There was actually a local TV channel which aired... Hello?
Yeah, Karthik, go on, we can hear you.
So there was a local TV channel which actually aired a rumor saying that there was a second blast in Bangalore in Hebbal, which actually spread on Twitter quite widely. But it turned out that it was just a rumor, and unfortunately this was from a mainstream TV channel and not through Twitter alone. So I can't blame just social media alone for sharing or spreading rumors.
All right, just want to welcome Utsav Mitra into the debate as well. Utsav joins us from Mumbai. Utsav, we were just talking about how the Indian social media played a role in the aftermath of the Bangalore blast as compared to the Boston media. How do you make sense of what the Indian social media's role was?
You know, I would say by and large, I would give it an 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. People, by and large, behaved responsibly. Yes, the few instances where certain extreme comments or you know, some unfounded allegations, etc., were leveled, largely started because of the reaction, or rather the initial tweets from a very senior ex-Minister of State from home, Mr. Shakil Ahmed. So I guess that was the origin, and then he was ably, you know, seconded by a few other loonies. But I would say by and large, those comments were instantly criticized.